The world is alarmed by the news of a meteorite hurtling toward Earth at breakneck speed. Meanwhile, Ma Jin and his younger cousin Xiao Jin are on a company trip, part of a team-building event. Ma brings along a lottery ticket, hoping to win big and impress his beautiful colleague, Shen. The team gathers at the brightly colored ferry that will take them to the event. When the company president, Zhang, arrives, he neglects to count the employees, forcing both Ma and Xiao, who are running late, to chase after the boat. Once aboard, the ferry sets off, and the driver, nicknamed De Bing, enthusiastically introduces himself to the passengers. He's quickly interrupted by the president's assistant, who gives the floor to Zhang. The president informs the staff that due to a rise in company stock, their salaries will increase by 10%. Ma, who is eagerly awaiting the lottery results, suddenly realizes that he has won 60 million yuan. Ecstatic, he begins running around, singing and celebrating, which confuses the others, who think he's just overjoyed about the pay raise. Panic soon replaces the excitement when a massive wave appears, hurtling toward their ferry. De Bing instructs the passengers to put on life jackets and prepares to steer through the wave. To complicate matters, that tsunami is accompanied by a burning cargo ship. Thanks to De Bing's heroic efforts, the ferry narrowly avoids colliding with the ship and plunges underwater. Moments later, the passengers watch in horror as a giant whale swims past them. Eventually, the ocean current sweeps the ferry to an unknown destination. By late afternoon, the boat crashes onto a rocky shore. The shocked passengers try to recover amidst wails and cries for help. Ma regains consciousness and is relieved to find that he has managed to keep his winning lottery ticket. He heads into the jungle, searching for Shen, and hears her screaming in the distance. He finds her trapped under a rock and helps her escape. The two find shelter in a crevasse, spending the night with the other survivors. The next day, De Bing informs the passengers that he explored the island and found some provisions. However, the disgruntled employees demand that he contact the company for a rescue. Unfortunately, communication devices are down, leaving them completely isolated. One of the employees, Professor Li, speculates that the meteorite has struck Earth and destroyed civilization, but Ma refuses to accept this, insisting they find a way to send a distress signal. As it starts to rain, the passengers take shelter in the ravine, shivering from the cold. The next morning, De Bing leads some of the group into the jungle to gather food, but the office workers, unaccustomed to such tasks, watch in awe as he skillfully climbs trees to collect supplies. Gradually, the survivors adapt to life on the island. They craft a message using bright life jackets and attempt to build a makeshift satellite to signal for help, but their efforts fail. Meanwhile, Xiao tries to repair the ferry under Zhang's orders, but another breakdown occurs. Zhang, realizing his wealth and power mean nothing here, becomes enraged. De Bing continues providing food and water, but tensions rise when some passengers complain about the taste of the fruit. Furious, De Bing reminds them that their status means nothing on the island. If they want better food, they must get it themselves. A faction, including Shen, decides to follow De Bing as their leader, recognizing his survival skills. Ma, however, resists De Bing's authority. For several days, he explores the island alone. One day, he returns to the cave and shares his discoveries, which enrages De Bing. In a fit of anger, De Bing strikes Shen with a stick for trying to help Ma, leading Ma to confront him, but he is easily overpowered. De Bing ties Ma to a tree as a warning to others who might disobey. That night, Xiao helps Ma escape. The next morning, Ma plans to leave the island and invites Xiao to join him. Shen finds Ma on the shore and tries to dissuade him, but Ma shows her the lottery ticket, explaining that he's willing to risk everything for his future wealth. He then confesses his long-held feelings for Shen, revealing that he's been the one secretly supporting her after her difficult divorce. Unfortunately, Shen doesn't return his feelings. Dejected, Ma attempts to kiss her, but she harshly rejects him. Despite the rejection, Ma promises to return for her if he survives. Ma and Xiao set off on a makeshift raft, recalling their tough childhood as they drift along. Suddenly, they spot the lifeless body of a polar bear floating in the water. They mistakenly believe the polar regions have flooded and take the bear's carcass back to the island. Bing punishes the brothers for their escape attempt by making them row for hours. During the ordeal, Ma's lottery ticket is discovered, leading to ridicule from his colleagues. Xiao confronts Ma, reminding him of their agreement to split the winnings, but Ma angrily brushes him off. As the days pass, the situation grows more desperate. Zhang, reflecting on his lost power, throws away his useless money. On the 21st day, Bing's rule becomes tyrannical. He forbids conversation and punishes any insubordination. During a fishing trip, Zhang and Ma bond, with Zhang acknowledging Ma's feelings for Shen and suggesting they work together to survive. That evening, tensions escalate between the survivors. Zhang addresses the group, urging them not to descend into barbarism. He argues that if they are the last people on Earth, they must build a better society. The group applauds his speech, but Bing interrupts, asserting that survival requires strict rules, not logic. The camp splits into two factions. One follows Zhang, including Ma, Shen, and a few others, while the rest remain loyal to Bing. Zhang's group stumbles upon an overturned ship filled with supplies, allowing them to live more comfortably. The next morning, Ma and Xiao excitedly discover the ship, hoping it will be their salvation. As the brothers reconcile, they dream of their future wealth. Meanwhile, Bing's faction struggles to find food. Ma, concerned for Shen, secretly places fish in her basket. At first, she refuses his help, but she eventually accepts when he offers her soap. Ma also helps her wash her hair and gives her a tour of the ship's amenities. As they grow closer, Shen opens up about her past, confessing that her marriage ended due to trust issues. Their intimate moment is interrupted by Zhang. Confused, Shen decides to return to her camp. Shen tells the group about the cruise ship, and soon they all arrive there. President Zhang proposes a plan for survival, suggesting they use playing cards as currency for completing tasks. People will receive cards of different values to exchange for food or other necessities. The idea interests most of the group, but the driver, Dicky, refuses to follow Zhang's rules and takes his men away. Ma, confused, reminds Zhang of his plan to leave the island, but it turns out Zhang never intended to escape and was just using the others for his own benefit. Dicky and his men, no longer willing to be Zhang's pawns, leave the group and set up their own camp in a crashed helicopter. Meanwhile, Ma has only 29 days left to redeem his lottery ticket before it expires. Over time, Zhang's opponents begin to lose hope. Without proper tools, they can't sustain themselves and become exhausted. The brothers, too, struggle and eventually decide to return to the cruise ship. During their absence, Zhang has built a thriving business aboard, using playing cards as currency. Some of Dicky's men have joined Zhang, preferring the leadership of someone who can provide food and comfort. Ma approaches Zhang, asking to borrow a fishing net, but Zhang mocks him and orders his men to beat Ma and drive the brothers away. That night, Shen visits Ma's hideout, bringing fish she traded for instant noodles. Ma is disappointed that Shen follows Zhang's rules and rejects her help. Offended, Shen leaves, tossing away all the fish she brought. On the 90th day, Ma, exhausted from hunger, stares at his now worthless lottery ticket. Suddenly, fish start falling from the sky as a storm rages. Realizing that his winnings have arrived, Ma and his brother dry the fish and hatch a plan to take control of the island. They offer to trade the fish to Dicky's group and then to Zhang's, dividing the supply between them. This strategy pits Dicky and Zhang against each other, both wanting more provisions for their groups. Ma decides to apologize to Shen and goes to the cave where she's bathing, only to embarrass himself in front of one of their goofy companions. Shen, watching from above, smiles lovingly at Ma's awkward monologue. During another fish trade, Dicky's group requests a fishing net from Zhang. Zhang, however, imposes strict conditions: either Dicky works for him or his group must return double the fish they catch. Dicky is furious at Zhang's arrogance and punches him, sparking a fight between the two camps. Ma and his brother watch, pleased that their plan is working. That evening, the fighting continues until a bright spotlight from the cruise ship shines on the scene. Ma uses the ship's microphone to urge everyone to unite in searching for a large landmass that must have survived the meteorite fall. Zhang ridicules him, but Shen stands by Ma, saying she doesn't want to spend the rest of her life fighting for survival. Using restored machinery as an example, Ma convinces everyone that they can escape the island if they work together. The group is inspired and makes Ma their new leader. Grateful, Ma provides hot food to the starving survivors and allows them to set up camp by the ship. Ma organizes the crew, assigning tasks to monitor weather and sea levels while keeping a journal of their observations. Dicky finally rests, having handed over command to Ma. Xiao, Ma's brother, shows the survivors how to charge cell phones, sharing messages and photos from their families in exchange for playing cards. The islanders, now working together, hunt, celebrate, and even rescue a sea boat stuck on the rocks. Xiao restores power to the camp, and they throw a party to celebrate. However, Xiao begins to abuse his newfound power, throwing playing cards into the crowd, relishing how people scramble for them. Ma and Shen deepen their relationship, but Ma wonders if Shen will stay with him once they're rescued. One night, the islanders hear what sound like gunshots. Ma reveals to his brother that he has heard these sounds before, occurring every 12 days. They climb a cliff and discover a ship launching fireworks nearby. Dicky rushes back to camp, elated, believing that rescue is near. But Ma and Xiao, unwilling to return to their former lives as losers, decide to keep this a secret. When Dicky shares the news, the crew dismisses him as delusional, locking him in a refrigerator and knocking him out with an electric shock. Xiao forbids the group from venturing into the mountains at night. Left alone, Ma and Shen discuss Dicky's situation. Shen confesses that she's afraid to go home, admitting she's happier on the island with Ma. Ma promises they will spend more happy days together. As Ma watches the group mistreat Dicky, his conscience starts to bother him. Xiao reassures Ma, insisting that they will soon leave the island with their power intact. Meanwhile, Zhang has secretly been hoarding fish to regain his influence. Xiao, aware of Zhang's plans, blackmails him by threatening to delete a video of Zhang's daughter from his phone unless Zhang surrenders his power. Zhang, believing the outside world is gone, agrees. Xiao shares his devious plan with Ma. They will destroy the sea boat's engine and steal the fisherman's net so that no one can leave. Horrified by his brother's obsession with power, Ma is soon captured, stuffed into a sack, and brought to the shore, where Shen surprises him by proposing a wedding. Though this was Ma's wish, he feels empty inside. During the wedding celebration, Ma tries to convince the group that a rescue ship is real, but no one believes him, not even Shen. Xiao encourages Ma to focus on the riches awaiting them back home, while Dicky overhears and accuses Ma of lying. Instead of fighting, Dicky and Ma secretly plan their escape. On the night of the ship's arrival, Ma suggests getting everyone drunk to make their getaway easier. Dicky sneaks onto the ship and tries to break the fuel line, but his lighter fails to ignite the gasoline. Meanwhile, Ma grabs a torch and urges the group to set the boat on fire as a signal for rescue. The people try to stop him, fearing he's lost his mind. In the chaos, Zhang appears with a lit cigarette, and Ma accidentally electrocutes him. The cigarette falls, setting the ship ablaze. In the fire, Ma throws away the book in which Zhang bequeathed everything to Xiao. Xiao falls into despair, realizing his dream of a life of wealth is gone. The islanders, desperate, try to extinguish the fire while Ma is chased through the mountains. He reaches a cliff but miscalculates his speed and falls into the water. As he plunges, he sees the rescue ship approaching and smiles. The next morning, Ma is washed ashore, finding only Shen waiting for him. She tells him that the rescue ship couldn't wait, and the crew left. Shen, however, has stayed behind to spend more time with Ma. Eventually, the islanders gain worldwide fame. Zhang buys the island and turns it into a resort. The team visits Xiao in the hospital, where he's been diagnosed with temporary amnesia. In the end, Ma wins his lottery prize, the company building, and the love of the girl he's long admired. Thanks for watching. Until next time, have a nice day.